I'm happy to be here today. I'm excited. I will not take any hard questions. If you have hard questions on our data, our rep Stephanie's here to answer them all. And I was trying to take some takeaways from Jeremy's presentation. And although we're not going to protect your family, we do say we protect your family jewels. So, okay, so we're MANSCAPED. We're a little quirky, hopefully a little funny, and definitely unconventional. Okay, thank you. And if you're from New York, you might have seen us in Penn Station or at the airport. And if you haven't heard of us, then this video should explain it all. Hopefully.
We need to talk about your balls. Are they small or covered in bits of annoying fluff? These are my balls. See how they glisten in the light? Your balls can be like these. Can you go and use the right tools for the job? This? No. This? No. This? Only if that's what you're into. Balls are delicate, sensitive, easy to damage. Someone's taking a chunk out of that one. That's why I use the Lawnmower 4.0. It's got skin-safe technology with a replaceable ceramic blade. So you can trim with confidence. It's got an LED light, so you can always see what you're doing. Lights, please! And what's more, it's got a wireless charging system and it's waterproof. You can even drop it in your pints. You wouldn't want to drink it, though. It's got pubes in it. The MANSCAPED lawnmower is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. That's over 4 million balls. There's no time you join them and use the right tools for the job. Because when it comes to balls, you don't muck about.
Go to manscaped.com and check out the all-new Lawnmower 4.0 and receive free shipping.
So as you guys can see, it's a very fun brand to be at and a fun brand to do creative for. But MANSCAPED is most importantly a consumer-led company. We've had consumer insights at MANSCAPED for about 3 years. The organization is about 6 years old, so that is really young for an organization to have a consumer insights function like ours. And we exist at MANSCAPED, our why, consumer insights, to empower our leaders with information to make strategic decisions for growth. And then how we do that? Well, in addition to syndicated and third-party data, we also conduct about 100 primary research studies a year. So that's 100 dedicated studies to MANSCAPED that we do a year. We also try to bring the voice of the consumer to every meeting we attend with data, not just our opinions, right? Because everybody can have an opinion, but if you have data, that is a little more powerful. And then our job is also to socialize those insights, right? So within the company, that's a big part of my role. So we try to make the insights really accessible to everyone in the organization that needs them, anyone that wants them, really anyone that will look at them. We go around doing little tours of what we've done. But today I'm going to take you through what brought us to Attest. So the business challenge, we were having really rocket-fueled success in the United States. But we wanted to size the global opportunity. We wanted to find out if this behavior of trimming your balls was just in the US or if it was really a global opportunity. And so we did what any good marketer or researcher would do, and we did research. And we used the Attest platform to research over 38 countries to ask men about their grooming habits. And what we found was that we already knew in the US the men who were trimming body hair, 78% or 73% of them were trimming their groin area. But what we quickly learned is that the Australians were doing it, the Canadians were doing it, the British were doing it, the Irish, the German, the French, and the Emiratis were doing it. Basically all over the world, this was a global behavior. And so it meant that this was a very huge opportunity for us. And when you're doing size of the prize or really anything else, size really does matter. So we created size of the prize models for each country. Of course, we have the US, and I couldn't put the actual countries in there, but you get it. So what we did was total addressable market on one side of men ages 18 to 54, and then gross disposable income. And we kind of plotted these, and This helped our international team create roadmaps for expansion and to figure out where they were going to go next. So while we started here, we've expanded into 39 countries in just under 2 years. And this is obviously kudos to our international team who has figured out all the logistics and operations, and to the entire company that kind of rallied around the international expansion. But that's a lot of countries to be in, D2C, in such a short time. And we also test the best ways to use our humor internationally. So we say, your balls will thank you. And we had to figure out how to say that in every language. So here it is in French, and here it is in Spanish. Tus joyas te lo agradecerán. I will not read the French one. My French teacher would be disappointed, but I can't do it. And then we love the Attest platform. We love the speed, the agility, and the cost. So we ended up moving a lot of our quantitative domestic research to Attest as well. So now we run all our brand trackers for the US and internationally on Attest. You can see our aided brand awareness growth. When we started, we were at a lowly 11%, and now we're at a 52%. We do ad testing. So we just had a big campaign in Penn Station and also a TV spot called BGE, Big Groomed Energy. And we tested that qualitatively and quantitatively. Yes, it is based on a very popular culture thing. I won't talk about it. If you know, you know. And then we also partner with our product development team. So they, of course, understand that we need to test things and we need to solve for problems and needs of the consumer. So we tested over 35 new products and launched 18 new products in the last 2 years. Here are some of them. So we now have a shampoo and conditioner, a deodorant, a body wash, in addition to all our other products for your growing grooming. And then, we do everything from needs testing, so really trying to identify what are the needs of the consumers so that our product development team can really take that and run with it in terms of developing new products. So for example, the most common concern for trimming ear and nose hair is actually snagging or pulling hairs, not like cutting your skin. And we do concept testing, so we want to test the concepts not just for acceptance, but also for positioning, because sometimes it isn't just what you're launching, it's about how you talk about it. So for example, our body scrubber, we tested positioning for this one, and a superior scrub down was the winning concept. We also do features and benefit rankings. So for our ear and nose hair trimmer, the #1 feature is still skin-safe technology. But benefits easy to use. So we try to test all these things so that we know what priority to put on them in terms of our content and in terms of our packaging even. And then we're known for our funny names like Weed Whacker or Lawnmower, so we test those as well. So we were launching the new body scrubber, and we wanted to know which name our consumers resonated with, and the body buffer is what won. So we have just launched the body buffer. So Manscaped is a consumer-led company. That is what we do. And I'm very grateful that they are and that we can have research to make some of those informed decisions for growth. And our growth has been spectacular over the last few years. So from 2020 to 2021, our overall revenue grew about 41%. Any questions? No hard questions. Yes.
I first off love the fun and punchy brand. To me, it's one of the kind of biggest bullets out there. Within all of the data that you showed, and I love the innovations and some of the creative testing, are there any kind of fun things you could share with us geographically or maybe creative testing that were like aha moments for you and or the broader team of, hey, would have thought this how we should bring this new product term? Is there an area of cutting your hair area in certain countries that you didn't expect somebody to talk about product innovation for the original?
Yeah, so a couple things. So one is, I showed that graph of where men are shaving, and in some countries, underarm hair removal is more prevalent than groin hair removal, so that's something interesting. But in terms of creative, what we tested was that BG campaign, because obviously that's a very, we thought like US popular term that we were playing off of. But what we learned is even in other countries, even if they did not get the joke, because we asked them specifically if they got the reference, even when they didn't get the joke, it still helped the brand. Like the perception of the brand was still higher. And so we decided to go international with it. Any other questions?
Got a quick.
Yeah.
You mentioned concept testing, but love the speed. Out of curiosity, how long does it take you to do a concept test, typically, like a time range?
I guess I don't know. Like, I don't know how to answer that exactly. Like with a test, it's super easy. Like once you have the concept,
Yeah.
it's like 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah, super quick. But you have to have the concept, so that part takes, you gotta work with your team.
That commercial was 4 markets and we had results in like a day.
Yeah, yeah.
Where are you seeing the most success in getting the feedback? Is it through email surveys, through social? How are you delivering and where are you seeing the most success in terms of getting the responses?
Yeah, so we do a couple of things, right? Like, so we do panel-based stuff like Attest, but we also survey our own customers, and we get a pretty good response rate with our own customers. They're pretty engaged with the brand. We also have our own community called the Ballers. They're a Facebook community, but it's grown to just under 20,000 members. So we're able to, if we have just a quick question, we're able to just pull them very, very quickly and get responses within hours.